Hey guys, I am going to go over a little bit of the drawing tools that are in your packet and to go over our first assignment of some spheres that we're going to be drawing, okay? So everyone should have just a normal number 2 pencil. This one's just black. It could be yellow or whatever. But if you look closely, you'll see an HB on the side of wooden pencils, okay? HB is right down the middle of the spectrum of different types of pencils and their softness and their hardness. The other pencils that are in your packet, you should have a 2H and a 6B, okay? This is just two different pencils that I chose. I mean, it ranges all the way up to like 9B and 9H, all the way down to 2H and 2B, those kinds of ordeals. And there's even a really soft black ebony pencil that's super soft, and you can get some really nice blacks with it. The reason why I put these two in there for you is that H stands for hard, so it's harder to get down your blacks, okay? These are really good for sketching pencils. It forces you to have a light hand. The B pencils stand for black, and you can get really nice, rich, deep blacks with these pencils. They're softer, and they have a thicker lead because they break easier, okay? So, just a kind of a reference to show you on this, when we are doing spheres, the main things I'm looking for is your smooth shading and your hard and soft edges. As a reminder of what a hard and soft edge is, that if we have an outline, say like this, both sides are hard, so it's an outline. To make a soft edge, what you're going to do is lightly add layers of your pencil back and forth, or little ovals, whatever's more comfortable with you, and make it nice and dark at first, just as dark as your outline. The trick is to make it just as dark. You're going to fade out into your paper, and this may take a few swipes or so until you get to the whites of your paper. Now, a good artist that is practiced can create nice, smooth shading without any smudging, okay? And you can go in the opposite direction. See, it's really hard to get light shading with this 6B pencil. It just wants to keep getting darker. So you can have some nice shading, light shading with the number 2 pencil. And it's a lot easier to get nice and soft, okay? You're going to go over this until that outline becomes, unrecognizable, okay? So now I've created a hard edge, which is a nice chop off, and then the soft edge where the black becomes into the white of the paper again. When you are drawing with pencil, you're always wanting to have hard and soft edges within your drawings, because it basically is just a battle between the darks and the lights and where to place them that makes your drawings more successful, okay? Now, the second part of this assignment, we are going to be drawing 2 spheres, one with nice smooth shading just like this, and the second sphere you're going to show some type of texture. So you can make like a hairy sphere or a scaly sphere, anything that shows texture. You can draw in your sketchbook or the extra piece of paper that you have. You are welcome to use a round object like a piece of tape or a bottom of a cup to create the circle for your drawing. Either way is fine. Let me scooch this over. I'm simply just going to hand sketch one in here, and I'm going to do a small one from beginning to end to show you what we should be doing. Now I just kind of hovered my hand over the paper and lightly pressed down my 2H pencil to get my circle. Then I can erase all the other wrong lines that way. Now, whenever you're drawing anything and you want it to make it look three-dimensional, you got to pretend there's a light source or a light bulb shining down on whatever rounded object that you have. This will give you direction of where to place the shadows and where to place the highlights. I'm going to pretend that my light source is coming from this direction, shining down on the sphere. So as the ball curves around, it's going to create a shadow on this side, okay? And whenever you start shading, you want to shade in a curve, the same curves as the object that you are drawing on, okay? So I'm kind of placing in some shadow lines of where I want everything to be with my 2H pencil, and then I can come in with my 6B pencil or my normal pencil and start softening up my shading. So with the sphere, I have a nice clean outline of my sphere right here, and I have the light shining down on the ball to make it brighter here, and as it curves around the ball, it gets darker and darker. Now with any rounded object, you're going to have a shadow. Shadows, always change depending where the light is and how strong it is, okay? You don't want your shadow to be any darker than the darkest part on your object, okay? I'm just going to make a simple little oval, and I'm going to shade it in just as dark as the dark part on my object. You don't ever want them to be like pitch black though. Now, a trick for shadows. This little section of where the object meets the shadow, you want to take an eraser and put an implied line. Now, an implied line, it may not actually exist in real life, but I'm going to put a little bit of an erased line to separate the object from the shadow to make it look like it's standing out or sticking out from the ground, okay? Now, this is a really good small sphere that's shaded from dark to light. There's no scratchiness. I have some nice dark areas, some really nice white areas. I left the white of the paper right there as well, okay? An example of a sphere in texture, I'm just going to do one with hatch marks to make it look like it's hairy. Now again, you can do any type of texture that you wish. So you can choose scales or bark or even teeth. You can have a little bit of fun with this one, but I want some type of texture. So I'm going to do the same thing with light up here and dark in that area. Make sure whatever you have near the highlight is still lighter than what you have down near the bottom where your shadowy parts are. Okay, this object still needs a shadow, so I'm going to do the same thing. The edges of this object are going to be a little bit fuzzier because the edges are fuzzy. Always mimics. Give it a little implied line. And those are the two types of spheres that I want you guys to try. I want a nice clean sphere with nice smooth shading, and then a textured sphere showing some type of texture in the round, okay?